I appreciate the supports a lot, even for me.
Thank you.
Are you surprised Drake is this good this fast, Parkins?
You have to be. What he was just alluding to there is he will be the second youngest quarterback to Marino to start a Super Bowl, and he'd beat Ben Roethlisberger's record for youngest ever to win one. So history is on the line for Drake Maye on Sunday. Jim Brown was an MVP at 21, Lamar at 22, Mahomes at 23. He's going to probably be the runner-up at 23. So when you're in that conversation of talent for both individual and team success this early, it is by definition historic. So, yeah, I am surprised by it, and I think that he's going to be great for the next, 10 to 15 years. I think you're set up in a great spot.
Yeah. Liz, I agree with the last part you said. I think he's going to continue to be excellent. I think he enters next year a top 5 quarterback and stays in that group, barring injury or something unforeseen for the majority of, not the majority, the rest of this decade and further past that. But I totally disagree with the first part. I don't think this is surprising really at all. This has become commonplace. Here's just guys from Mahomes to now to do something like this in year 1 or 2. It is almost every year. Mahomes in his second year, his first year starter, 1 league MVP, threw 50 touchdowns. Lamar in his second year, 1 league MVP. Burrow in his second year made the Super Bowl. C.J. Stroud in his first year and unbelievable rookie
number
season.
1 in yards per game?
Yes. Hold on. Brock Purdy made a Super Bowl, and Brew argued wasn't the only one.
Fourth.
Right, yeah. It could have been MVP. We think Drake Maye is going to be second in MVP. Jaden last year almost did it. And Jaden last year didn't have the MVP argument, but he did have is this, top 5 quarterback moving forward? Is this, so I don't think it is that shocking. Now, maybe you could argue it's shocking that it's him and not Caleb, but after their rookie years, that's not shocking. I thought Caleb could do this within his first 2 years. Jaden kind of did it. And if you're hung up on the fact that if he were born 9 months later, he's his second year player.
Well, no, but I just think that a lot of the comps on that list, like C.J. Stroud is not comparable to this.
Okay, so take C.J. off it. All the other ones.
But he did have a great rookie.
Yeah,
his rookie season was fine. Jaden Daniels making the NFC Championship game is, to me, not comparable to being in the Super Bowl and being second for MVP. He had a great rookie season, but this is much more impressive than
what about Daniels Brock Purdy and Joe Burrow and Lamar and Mahomes? Which is 4 since Mahomes.
Those would be better comps. And then I think when you also factor in age and the team that he's on relative to what their preseason expectations are, this is a pretty big out-of-nowhere Super Bowl.
The closest one, I think, on that list would be Burrow. Just because Burrow took a team that was, a mess.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden got them to the Super Bowl. And the Patriots won 4 games last year. I think your list is obviously it's an impressive list, and you're right. Someone comes out of college and is impactful right away. I'm surprised, though, that it's him. And obviously you thought it was Caleb. I'm sure you thought it was going to be Caleb as well. But I thought Drake Maye was not a project, but I thought raw.
Yeah.
I was like, coming out of college, I was like,
I think he was.
He's got talent galore. There's no question, but it's going to take him a little while, and he could be great. But I didn't see it coming this fast. I think Josh McDaniels is huge in that. And it's interesting that he's the youngest outside of Marino. Marino, because I remember him very well. You guys were much younger. In college, his last year at Pitt, he declined.
That's why he fell in the draft.
Yeah, exactly. Drake Maye, his second season at North Carolina was much better than his last season. It still was a good last season, but he declined as well and dropped. And now both of them come into the league and take off right away. But, yeah, I'm just surprised that he was so poised. And he doesn't look raw now. We thought he was raw coming in. Now he is poised. spectacular with the deep throws, but also can manage the game. Like, he just looks like a fully equipped quarterback, and that is surprising to me, judging by what I saw in college.
You guys know I have that puffer coat, that blue puffer coat.
Yeah, it's a good look for you.
Thank you.
That was nice of you to save him there.
It's a nice
Neither
coat.
Brew nor I had.
You don't know what
I have no idea. I mean, I
don't
know
know what
a
coat I wear?
I know
I've seen
what
the
a puffer
walk-in
coat
videos.
is. I'm not really studying your garb on the
Correct.
videos. I mean,
You don't know that I have a navy blue coat?
No, thank you, Danny.
I got you.
I just
Go
listen
ahead.
to the
That hurts
things
my
you say.
It's a
feelings.
good
Just
looking
go
coat.
ahead.
Yeah.
I know you dress
Hold on.
up for us on the
You do too.
Monday video.
I have a nice puffer coat, right?
Yeah,
You've seen it,
famously.
Parkins.
Famously. Yeah, it's a great coat.
I was like, I'd like a longer coat, too. Because this is like a ski coat. I kind of want a longer coat. I went to a store, and I'm like, I need a long coat. I'm like, and I didn't look at how much this price was. And I took off this heavy coat, and I put it on, and it was, honestly, I looked like you in your robe. It was like furry.
Awesome.
I looked so amazing. I looked in the mirror, and it was like thousands of dollars. I put it back. I was like, this actually looks too good. I'm uncomfortable with how good I look in this coat.
I know the feeling.
It's spectacular.
Yeah.
If Drake Maye wins Super Bowl MVP, and he's the youngest player to ever win the Super Bowl, I feel like there is an argument that he is the best quarterback in the NFL. Of
course.
That being said, I feel uncomfortable in it.
Well,
because it's too much.
No,
it's me.
I feel like
it's too much.
So, and that brings me to.
That's a good.
It brings me to my next
It is too
point.
much.
And that is too much, I think, on the rankings. So I am surprised, borderline shocked, that Drake Maye is this good this fast. But I know this emotion that I also have. I'm not happy about it. You don't deserve it. Like, you specifically.
Here we got to talk about him in third grade.
I don't think that
Oh
means
my
we're
God.
It's not just
Oh
me.
my
It's not just Bears fans. It's all fans.
Dolphins fans?
It's Dolphins fans. It's
That's
Browns
not-
fans.
you know
it's
what?
Jets
Definitely
fans.
Dolphins.
No,
8 degrees
Jets
here right
fans.
now. Okay,
Here's
Dolphins
the thing.
fans.
You don't appreciate how good you've had it. And I don't think
we didn't make the playoffs for 4 years.
for 4 whole years. But I
maybe
want to tell you,
3.
I'm going to extrapolate it. I'm going to extrapolate it, okay? All of Boston. You have it too good. And it's like, oh, it couldn't happen to a nicer person. This is the exact opposite of that because of Boston sports fans. Look at this list, okay? Your 4 teams since your first Super Bowl have played for the title in their respective sports 21 times, and you've only had 18 losing seasons.
13.
Bruins, Red Sox, Celtics, and Patriots since 2002 have had 18 losing seasons against 21 title possibilities. So the fact that we're 7 years removed from Brady and you already have the guy who might be the youngest Super Bowl MVP ever and you're back in the Super Bowl, I resent it on behalf of everybody else.
Oddly, Danny, I root for all the Boston teams, but I am not a Bruins person. So if you want to take out the Bruins and put in Huskies men's and women's basketball,
Right, yeah.
it gets really ugly. It gets really bad.
That is rough, man.
Justin Jefferson's former quarterback is in the Super Bowl. He says he's going to be pulling for him. But you know what? It would have been nice to keep him in a purple jersey. All right, Danny, what has Sam Darnold proved on this run?
So I think what he's proven for like his own narrative is stuff we've talked about all playoffs, and it's pretty obvious. Like, the Seahawks were right to move on from Geno to him. He's a great contract.
It's a knife.
Yeah.
It's just a knife.
I just thought I'd mention it.
Yeah.
He's a great contract. He's not a choke artist. We don't have to keep referencing like seeing ghosts. He can get it done. They can win a big game because of him. Like, that was a question up into the NFC Championship game.
Yeah. 8 days ago was the question.
8 days ago, right? So I think for him, all of that's been answered. And now, if you're the Steelers, the Jets, the Browns, the Cardinals, you look to the draft to find your quarterback, but also you're like, who is the next Sam Darnold? Like, the Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield type reclamation project, because Sam Darnold was a bust with the Jets. But the question now is, like, was that Sam Darnold or was it the Jets? Right? He was 20, he was 21, 22, 23 years old, and he couldn't save the Jets. So, like, can one of those teams turn Kyler Murray into the next Sam Darnold? Like, can one of those teams, like, I mean, Daniel Jones, he was on his way to doing it with the Colts before he got injured. So, like, the quarterback that was a huge prospect that went to the bad situation that is deemed a bust, but has all of the physical tools where if they went to a good spot for 30, 40 million bucks would be a bargain. Kyler Murray's the guy that's going to fall into that category this offseason.
Yeah, I think it proves that guys develop at different rates. And if a guy, because we don't know, Darnold's 29, 28, 29, 28. I mean, who knows if he could have 7 great seasons after this and be, I'm not predicting this, but be a Hall of Famer or something like that. Like, he could go on to have a really great career.
Remember Kyle called him Steve Young.
Yeah,
Steve Young wasn't, good in the NFL until he was this age. Really only had like 8 awesome years.
Matt Stafford got his first Super Bowl at 34.
Yeah, I mean, his situation, it was, but yeah, I get that. And so guys develop at different rates. If the quarterback doesn't come in and right away within the first 2 or 3 years blow you away, doesn't mean he can't do that in the future. But then also, maybe even bigger, the importance of, like, we have these guys we think of as QB whispers and a Kyle Shanahan guy. Like, those dudes know what they're doing. If Darnold doesn't go to San Francisco, who knows what happens then? Now, maybe O'Connell would have done it the next year, or would he have even been in Minnesota? And so, like, the Jets just weren't equipped. They did everything. They were terrible. They ended up getting the top pick, the number 3 pick in the draft. That's how you get your quarterback. That's what we're saying the Raiders just did. That's what we're saying the Steelers should do. You got it. And your organization was not good enough to make something out of it. And there are other ones around too. And so if I'm an owner or something, I'm like, man, I do not want to be in that position. We were just joking about, Darnold, if you want to kind of throw in Aaron Rodgers, Geno Smith, like none of them were good with the Jets. And they went elsewhere and were pretty good. Zach Wilson.
We don't know.
So if I was an owner, I'm like looking at Sam Darnold saying, man, I am going to make sure my organization is tight. So if we're in this position, we don't mess up a potentially Super Bowl quarterback.
So, yeah, I was looking at this question from about what he's proven for himself, but I'll stay with where you guys are as far as kind of big picture, what it means for other quarterbacks. The inclination, the implication, I should say, is, don't give up on a guy. Like, if you draft a guy and you believed in him, even if he has those struggles, don't give up on him. But I don't think Sam Darnold was ever going to be this with the Jets. And by the way, if we remember, the Jets got good draft pick compensation, a second rounder and something from Carolina for Darnold. Because Carolina still believed in the traits, and then Carolina flat gave up on him, and that's why he then had to kind of bounce around as he did, back up in San Francisco. So the lesson I would have is a little bit of a different one, which is one of the reasons Darnold is being this successful, he has been excellent, but it is also tied to the fact that he has gotten the maturity, the experience, without coming with the price tag that normally comes with the maturity and the experience. And if Kyler is going to be successful at his next spot, or Tua at his next spot, it will in part be because they are not, those guys got paid and were asked to elevate their teams. Daniel Jones, you're right, was looking like he was going to be able to do something special with the Colts this year, even if I was skeptical of it. But again, that was, you got the experienced veteran quarterback on a discounted rate. I think people would be making a mistake if the lesson that teams take from Darnold turning into this 8 years into his career at what we call like a middle-class quarterback salary is, man, that means I really need to just stick it out with Bryce Young. Like, that means I just need to, but that doesn't mean that Bryce Young in 4 years making, the whatever the equivalent of the Darnold salary is in a better situation can't look better than he's ever looked in Carolina. Does it make sense what I'm saying?
That's also why I mentioned the traits, like 6'3" mobile with a big arm.
Yeah.
Like put that guy in a good situation. If you trust your coaching, you could probably turn him into something. Which is where I would not put Bryce Young or Tua.
Well, Kyler ain't got none of those traits. And
well, he's mobile with a big arm.
He's
just not. He's small.
I'm looking for. I have my next Sam Darnold guy who people like feels like he's like underachieved and people want to give up on, but I think he could be good with the right guy. Justin Herbert.
I take back everything I said about your coach. I take back everything I said.
Big arm.
Huge
Imagine
arm.
He's like a Sam Darnold but 3 inches taller.
Just wait until Mike McDaniel and Justin Herbert
that's what I'm
come together.
saying.
The league is in
that-
big trouble.
That's I agree.
That sounds like
It's true.
LeBron at 22 last night.
I was so excited for
at
who
the
you were going to
Garden.
say
he's
there.
real proud of himself for that one, folks.
You're just sitting there waiting for it. LeBron at 22 last night at the Garden. He also made his 22nd All-Star game, named as reserve by the coaches. Okay, so one of the arguments is Kawhi versus LeBron, Danny. Kawhi has been available, and the Clippers have been cooking recently. Are you okay with LeBron in over Kawhi if that's theoretically whose spot he took?
Of course. I get why Clippers fans wouldn't be. It's in their building.
Luckily, there aren't any.
Yeah, right. I get. Sure.
I checked it.
I feel bad for that one guy.
I'm just Billy Crystal was outraged.
Clipper Darrell.
Darrell and Billy Crystal are outraged. Yeah, but listen, I love the NBA All-Star Game, as flawed as it is. It's like a guilty sports pleasure of mine. I watch every one start to finish. Absolutely. But like Shaq goes through the legs and pulls up from 3. Like it's not they do half-court shooting contests in the middle of the game. Like this is an exhibition for the game where there are often ceremonies that celebrate the history of the league. And this is LeBron's record-setting 22nd All-Star game, 3 more than Kareem, in his 23rd season. I don't even know if he'll play in the game. He might sit it out for rest. But like
Games.
right, exactly. But like
One of the problems with it now.
but it is a celebration of the sport.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It is an exhibition that's and I know this isn't a commissioner ad, and you could argue that he got in there on merit because it's wildly impressive to be averaging 22, 6 and 6 at this stage of his career. But of course, it's fine that LeBron is in the All-Star game. It's fine.
What's not fine is that people are acting like it's controversial. If you want Kawhi in, then great. Then he should be in over Chet, or he should be in over Denny Avdia. He should not be in over the all-time leading scorer, who is right now the second best player on the 6th seed, who's averaging 22, 6 and 6. When the precedent is, if you are a minted, no doubt, as Simmons would call it, pantheon guy, you just keep going to all-star games. Kareem got 3 on the back end after he stopped being awesome. He was still the captain and still was, those teams were really good. Everybody knows how much respect I have for Kareem. But Kareem's last year making the All-Star game, going into it, he averaged 9 a game. Jordan got in both years as a Wizard. His first year, you could argue it would have been just on merit if you didn't know it was Jordan. His second year, it was because he's Michael Jordan. And Kobe was shooting 34% from the field for an 11-win, a team that was 11-44 at the break, and he got in. These guys, and there's a very short list, always get in, and people framing it as if Kawhi didn't get in because LeBron did is nonsense. LeBron was going. So if it's either Denny Avdia or Chet Holmgren, pick your guy to make the argument Kawhi should be in over, because LeBron's got to be there.
I agree with what you guys are saying. I'm glad LeBron's there. He should be there. This is the league showcase event other than, in the regular season. But and I don't remember, neither of us remembers, a lot of times fans vote in those legends. And I think the uproar, because I was even wondering, we talked about it, maybe it was even off air, were the coaches definitely going to put LeBron in? We want to see him there, but a lot of times the coaches might go with, they might have just gone with, okay, these are the guys I think should be there. And there's an argument for LeBron. Kawhi Leonard is playing better than LeBron. I know he's not the draw, and I'd rather see LeBron in an All-Star game, but Kawhi should be there, I think, over Avdia, who I'd put him over. But I usually it's the fan vote, I believe, or something like that gets him in. But LeBron is playing, like you said, he's on the 6th seed. His numbers are solid. You can't rip, oh, this is a travesty. How is he even an All-Star? No, his numbers are All-Star worthy. And the team is winning. It's not like he's just putting them up on a bad team. So I'm fine with it. But Kawhi, I think, should definitely be in. And I think he will get in over some injured
How about
players.
Dillon Brooks?
Dillon Brooks not an All-Star.
Well,
Is he?
He's not.
he should be.
Back here on the OT, we got Willie Colon and Coach Mangini on the desk. You know, our very own Kevin Wildes, he once coined the phrase, defense wins championships. He was the first to say it. Super Bowl 60, prime example of that. McDonald and Vrabel being the first matchup of defensive head coaches since Belichick and Dan Quinn 7 years ago. Our own defensive coach, Mangini, out here. These two quarterbacks, they're going to have their hands full. Who is more likely to struggle, look like a dud, Darnold or Drake?
Well, watching New England's defense, I really like what they're doing, and it's multiple. It's a lot of pre-snap disguise. They're using it looks like everybody defensively. They'll rotate guys in both at outside linebacker, inside linebacker, on the defensive line, and that to me puts Darnold in probably the position to have the best chance to be a dud. I think they're going to force him to make a lot of decisions after the snap, and that's where you can make significant mistakes. Now it's going to be interesting because there's so much communication with the looks and multiple packages, how much Seattle's pre-snap motions and their sort of gadget formations affect that communication. That's my biggest concern from a New England defensive perspective.
Yeah, I agree with Coach. I think as long as Seattle doesn't give Drake Maye the answers before at the line of scrimmage, he's going to struggle. Nevertheless, we've seen him throughout the playoffs struggle against elite defensive lines, solely because of the protection on the left side with Will Campbell and that other rookie. I also think right now, if you look at his production during the playoffs, he's only 4 for 15 on deep balls, right? He doesn't have that kind of explosive play power, production rather, that we've seen during the regular season. I do think right now the blueprint is out as far as how do you get after Drake Maye. Condense the pocket, don't let him scramble up the middle, speed him up, and really allow him to kind of choke the baby in the pocket. And if you're able to do that, you can get to him. So I can see Drake Maye struggling.
So I was going to make the case for Darnold, the other side in a second, and I'll get to it. But Sam Darnold is coming through a run where they had the bye, then they played San Francisco defense. We talked about decimated by injuries. Rams defense had really been falling off. Whereas Drake Maye is coming through this gauntlet of Chargers top pass defense, Houston best defense in football, Broncos in their building, best pass rush in football, top 5 defense. Is there something to, because I agree that the Patriots are playing their best defensive football of the year, that it's been a while since Darnold has played a top defense, whereas Drake Maye is kind of in a rhythm of playing top defense. Drake Maye's only seen great defenses for the last month, whereas it's been over a month since Darnold's seen a great defense. Is there anything to that?
Yeah, there absolutely is something to that. We look at Drake Maye's production, it hasn't been very good, but it's somewhat understandable why it hasn't been very good based off of who he's had to play against, and the fact that he played against Denver in Denver, and then you had the weather situation, that didn't help either. And for me, it's about how well Darnold is going to be able to process after the snap. And will they try to double Jackson Smith and Jigba, maybe put Gonzalez over on Kupp, take away, put their best corner on the number 2, and then double team the number 1 and see whether or not they can beat you with everybody else. And you can do that and still play 8 in the box. Instead of playing a post safety, you just shade the safety over to Njigba.
So I'll show the numbers real quick, because in the regular season, when these two opponents played playoff teams, Sam Darnold was the one who struggled, and Drake Maye cooked. But the playoff teams that Drake Maye played in the regular season, he played Pittsburgh, but it was early.
Sure.
Carolina, and then Buffalo, and we know the struggles that Buffalo's defense had. Then when you flip it to the playoffs, when they obviously are both playing playoff opponents, it's Darnold's been cooking, and Drake Maye's really struggled. But again, there's a huge difference, Willie, in the caliber of defenses that those two teams are playing. So my gut tells me that Drake is more likely to look like a dud because he has struggled against these great defenses in the playoffs. But now you guys have me questioning my logic here.
Well, I think part of that Sam Darnold's out is that he's had a run game to kind of stabilize the offense, right? It hasn't solely been him dinking and dunking or really delivering the football in a massive way. Yeah, he's had some big-time connections with JSN, but Kenneth Walker has been the stabilizer for that offense. So he's been on schedule because of the run game, and I think that's been able to kind of neutralize the defense that he's been going against. I think moving forward in this game, it's going to come down to winning on early downs, and you do that with a really effective running game. They showed it in the NFC Championship with Kenneth Walker on the opening drive where they went 81 yards and he kind of finished it off. So for me, as long as the run game's humming, Darnold's going to be where he needs to be. It doesn't matter what defense is on the field.
Yeah, and I actually think New England can do a good job shutting down the run game. They've been very effective up front. They're physical, and then they're mixing in some other pressures, both run and pass game pressures, that can then generate some negative plays.
What have you seen as the biggest difference? Because to me, it is very obvious that the Patriots are playing their best defense of the season, like late in the season.
Facts, yeah.
Well, when you start with a group like they started with, and there's a lot of moving parts, right? A lot of new guys. So during the course of the season, you have to figure out where do guys fit, what do we do well, and then really good coaching staffs are then able to maximize what you do well, build on those packages leading into the playoffs and now into the Super Bowl. And I think that's what Mike's done is he had this group of guys where so many were new, and now we're how many ever weeks later, they've got a great sense of what each guy can do, and they're doing a good job of putting those guys in positions where they maximize their ability.
It's funny because their defense reminds me a lot of Vrabel's defense when he was playing with Seymour and Roosevelt Colvin and Ty Green. Like, they have those no-name guys who are just disciplined at what they do as far as condensing the pocket and owning A-gaps. And that's how Barmore and Milton Williams play. They own that between A-gap to A-gap, they eat. They dominate.
Salty.
They're filthy.
Are salty.
But that's how his defense was when he played. So I see a lot of similarity in that regard.
And the outside linebackers too. They're
Jason's
big,
great.
Physical dudes.
Yeah. He was a monster in
hard.
LSU. People forget him.
Yeah, he had a great AFC Championship game. But whoever they roll in, that guy goes in and does a really good job.
100%.
I mean, they didn't. They were missing some parts last game, and they roll in other parts. And
slow down. We got a game on Sunday. You guys have me ready for this game right now. You guys can do the X's and O's breakdown.
It's game week, baby.
I'm very excited right there.
Yeah.
Let's stick with the Seahawks here because no matter what happens in the game, they're going to have big changes coming to the coaching staff. Coach, you know all about this. They're losing their offensive coordinator. Klint Kubiak is reportedly in line to be the Raiders' next head coach. Vegas currently, of course, is the #1 overall pick, where they're expected overwhelmingly to draft Heisman Trophy winner Fernando Mendoza. Willie, should Raiders fans be fired up for a Kubiak-Mendoza pairing?
I wouldn't.
No?
I'm just keeping it a buck. Does it excite you? It doesn't excite me. They fired their last 3 head coaches, and now you're looking at a team that's deficient in multiple areas. And I get it. Klint Kubiak, I think he's a damn good offensive coordinator. The Seahawks finished top 3 in offense. But I'm looking at a team that wants to compete in a division that can play defense and offense. Obviously, you have Herbert and Mahomes, on and on. But I understand the young kid and what he's been able to do. But if I'm the Raiders, man, you're setting Klint Kubiak up for failure because I understand what the young stud is, but if you trade out of that and get him enough pieces where he can build on and then potentially go into the draft next year where the quarterback draft is richer, now you have something to lean on. For me, it just sounds like we've seen this episode.
Right, you're a big build the team before you draft the
100%.
quarterback guy. That's what you
100%.
came up with in Pittsburgh. What about you, Coach?
Yeah, look, there's merit to that. If you feel Mendoza is really the guy and he's a franchise guy, then you have to take him with this pick, and it sounds like that's where they're leaning. But even with that, then it's a question of can the coach develop that talent? And the expectations are sky high with the #1 overall pick, and nobody really waits for it. So I went back and I looked at who Kubiak's worked with, and it hasn't been a lot of young quarterbacks. So he started out with Kirk Cousins, then he moved to Russell Wilson. He had the 1 season with Brock Purdy, but you look at that and you say, okay, if you give him credit for Brock Purdy, do you take credit away for not being able to develop Trey Lance? So there's that dichotomy. Then he had Derek Carr. Now, in that mix, he had Spencer Rattler, who started 6 games.
That went very poorly.
Yeah, so Spencer Rattler had 4 TDs, 5 interceptions, a 37.1 quarterback rating, 57% completion. Not very good. And now he moves to Sam Darnold, who also is say what you want, but he is an experienced quarterback.
Can I flip side of that? Because I was looking at that 24 Saints team. I mean, people are like, why is the 2024 New Orleans Saints getting so many Google searches today? It was me, Coach. Derek Carr was impressive those first 10 games before when he got hurt. The team basically didn't win another game.
Right.
You know, so I do wonder if you're like, okay, so he got Purdy to be good, Derek Carr to be good, Darnold to be good. That's a pretty good recent track
Darnold was
record.
already good. He was nasty in Minnesota outside the playoff game where he had the 9 sacks.
And Derek Carr had some really successful seasons when he was with the Raiders. My point is, all those guys were experienced guys. They weren't being introduced to the NFL. They weren't going through their first training camp, their first, extended season, all the different looks that you're going to get from teams. And now you have to take that young, inexperienced guy with sky-high expectations and turn him into something that's very productive
But let's
right
be honest,
away.
also, there's no receiver room. Who's he throwing to?
Brock Bowers.
Okay.
Yeah, well, here's what I'll just say about this. I like this for the Raiders if they do it with the quarterback, because I do think if you are in a division with Sean Payton and Bo Nix, Jim Harbaugh and Justin Herbert, Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, you have to swing for the fences. And a number one quarterback and a young offensive head coach, it might bust, but it is the way to hit a home run.
Well, yeah.
It does represent the highest possible ceiling. I don't know if it'll work, but in terms of I wouldn't want to.
Numbers show it won't work when you don't have an offensive line or a receiving core.
Sure, but I wouldn't want to play it safe if I was in that division.
Look, if you can get the franchise quarterback, you go get him. And if you believe this guy is a young coordinator that can become a great head coach, you go get him too. But you better marry that with a little bit of patience and not think, okay, we're going to be in the Super Bowl next year because the Patriots are able to do it after 1 year.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.